It's time for MinkLife Motivation Live. I'm Monica Henderson, and today I have a question for you. Are you unsure of what your business is doing next? Well, today's show is all about nurturing your business plan. Let's get started. All right, we are here. We're back. I know you probably missed us. We've been gone for a little while, but sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. And today, you're going to be so excited that you're back with us today because we have two amazing guests for you. We have Priya Kumar, and I am going to butcher his name, Stephen Logreira.
Close. Logreira. There's no N in there. Logreira.
Logreira. And they are here to help us. Priya is a profit strategist, and we also have Steve as a sales long title as a sales expert, and
Sales
we are going
process.
to
Sales
sales
process
process.
consultant.
That's right, sales process, and we are going to really dive into the business plan today. So I'm so excited you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here on the show with us. And just so you know, as the audience, you are the most important. You can chime in by putting your comment in the chat. And don't be one of those people who just watch, but actually put your contact, get those thumbs, those fingers going, and really comment because your comment will show up right here on the screen as we go along. So let's get started by meeting our host. And I'm going to ask you a question, and feel free to answer and feel free to absolutely brag about your business when you answer this question today. How has nurturing your own business plan helped you in your entrepreneurial journey? And today I'm going to start with usually men say ladies first, but you know what? Women power. Let's have Steve go first today.
Okay. So the question is, how has
How has nurturing your business plan helped you in your entrepreneurial journey?
I think that the thing for me, it's always been about processes, understanding, that the different processes in my business. You start a business, you gotta have a marketing process. You gotta dial in your marketing. Now you start getting leads. Now you're getting into sales. So what's your sales process? Now you sold something. Is there an onboarding process? How do you charge money, contracts, things like that? Things, what needs to happen for you and how to work together. Then you have a fulfillment process. How do you make good with what you sold to your client, right? And another one that people don't think about is also re-engagement, right? You have a seasonal business. You have a business that you renew things, right? Every year, your customers are going to come look for a solution. Are you the solution that continuously keeps on giving? So really having processes and of course leveraging technology, because that's my thing. I'm a geek at
Yeah.
heart.
Well, Steve and I have geeked out over processes. For those of you who watch the show, processes, systems, efficiency, all sexy words to me. I love, love, love efficiency because I'm a lazy person. And when you are lazy, you get really creative about how to do less work very quickly. And Steve and I have bonded over that on a call before this conversation before. So I remember, that's my
I'll, I'll,
guy.
sh- I'll share an interesting quote with you about laziness.
Okay. So Priya, let's give you an opportunity to answer the question. So, how has nurturing your business plan helped you in your entrepreneurial journey?
I would say my biggest one was getting clarity because sometimes we have a great idea, we get started and we move forward with it, and then you see traction and you see where your passion is really aligned, where your energy is going, and then having that clarity of okay, where do I want to take this? Because a lot of people also think sometimes that oh, you gotta the only way to really build yourself financially is to start a business, but it could be your energy could be aligned in a totally incorrect area. I'm a profit strategist, and so that's like money around everything, like your
Yeah.
personal life, building yourself, anything money, energy, financial trauma, financial healing, all of that stuff. And I had to really get that clarity of like, okay, which channel do I want to put this in? Do I want to only cater to businesses, or do I want to also go to individuals, or do I want to make a bigger impact by creating programs for nonprofits and all of that? So that's something that I coach my clients on, is like, okay, are you paying attention to a biggest part of profit is that you're paying attention to how money is moving throughout your organization, so you're able to reduce the debt and all of that stuff. And Steve brought up a big point. The sales is a huge part of it. And as we head into the recession, what people start doing is they start cutting back on marketing. But when you are pivoting and when you are introducing new things that can help someone, if people don't know that exist, you can't make any money. you know so some of the times these expenses, like analyze these expenses, because they could actually be an investment within your business. So I would say that is mine, like getting that clarity of, okay, what do I really need in order for myself to grow, and what is it that I want to grow in my business.
It's so true. So, you know, earlier I saw a post by Quentin, my guide when I was in Edinburgh. He's a business coach, and uh, he was posting about um, imposter syndrome, and that is something that comes up a lot with entrepreneurs, right? And when that comes up, I always talk about how we have this cycle of birth and how we have to go through the different things. And I know for me, anytime I'm feeling imposterish, it's because I don't understand what my success is going to look like. And I don't understand the steps I need to take in order to get there. I know that the minute I know what the steps are, I just got to work the steps, right? And so, kind of nurturing, like, first having a business plan is super important, but then taking the time to nurture it by like working the steps. Like, I don't know how many people in our community are like, I have plans, but they're not working. And it's like, well, how long have you been doing it? And they're like, well, I did the business plan like 3 weeks ago and I don't see the results. And it's like, no, you gotta work the steps and you gotta work them. And when you don't think that they're working anymore, you gotta give it a little bit more time and you gotta nurture that plan so that it has time to grow. Because if it doesn't have time to grow, you'll never know if it worked or not. So for me, it's been kind of just that. Like, how do I lean into understanding what the steps are I need to take in order to be successful? So that I can nurture my own life plan so that we can build all of this stuff that you guys see us talking about here in the MinkLife community. So that is why it's so important. But we're going to get motivated now. In today's topic, I don't know if you noticed, it's about nurturing and also about business plans. And so, why is it important? Why is nurturing your plan vital to your success? And I want you to give a very specific detail about that because you guys are both generalists in some ways. So I want you to get specific on it. What is the one thing that you would say why it's important? And I'll start with Priya this time.
You gotta be clear on your vision and what your mission is. Because if that is what is going to allow you to put the drivers in place, it'll allow you to see the steps that you need, because you want to go in with that one focus. Even though you want to make all these great impact, you can only grow in one area at a time when you are starting your business. So put your business plan together, have that one mission and one vision that you are going to go after. This way you can lay down the steps that are aligned with that, your marketing, your strategies for everything. It's almost like a GPS. You got to put an exact destination. That's when it's going to give you the route that you need to take, or the alternate routes that you need to take to get there. So that would be my one specific for anyone who is starting their business. Be very clear on what your vision is for your business.
Yes, goosebumps, baby. The universe is saying yes. She's dead on with that. I know. I saw Steve's head nodding over there too, like amen, sister. Preach that. Steve, did you want to add to what she was saying about that?
Yeah, I think you got to be clear on the what and the why. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? And a lot of business owners, they get into business because they either overcame a challenge by doing this thing that they do, or they saw a problem and they found a solution. But it's always something, at least in a lot of cases, it's especially solopreneurs, is there was something that drove us to get to what that is. So understanding what it is that you want to do, um, and understanding why you do it, and the how will show up. Like, if you're worried about, okay, how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that, that just creates a lot of stress. That's where that fear comes in. You really don't know what it is that, I got this idea, how am I going to get it? Well, understand what it is, the why, and then the how will show up, and there'll be different iterations. Because I always tell everybody that entrepreneurship is a lifelong um, personal development seminar, because it really challenges you. And the moment that you don't know how, that's where a lot of people get stuck. To, well, how do I do this? Don't worry about it. Just put your plan together, like you said. Look at your mission, your vision. What are you trying? What is your product or service, and why are you offering that? Why are you passionate about it? Because on the days that you wake up and you're like, you know what, I don't feel like doing my marketing, I don't feel like doing this, you just wake up and you just say, I don't feel like it. That's when you got to kind of take a step back and say, okay, what is it I'm trying to accomplish, and why am I doing it? And that is going to be your driver. And if your why is not big enough, that's when you you know an analogy I hear a lot, and it's so true, is sometimes you put the ladder of success and you're climbing up that wall, and then you realize you're leaning it against the wrong wall.
So
and then
true.
and then you got to just take it down and put it up the next wall, because sometimes it might take a few businesses or a few iterations of what you're doing to really get to where you feel, you know what, this is it, this is my business, this is what I want to be. And then you can get super clear, because the beginning is just fuzzy, and it's just an idea. And then you know and the how, always just remember, the how will show up always.
Yeah, I always say your first ideas are hieroglyphics to yourself. In how Steve was talking about, like, you might put it against the wall and it might not be it, but I feel like even if you climb that ladder up to a certain point, you at least have a different perspective of what that looks like, and you can see across the way of,
Yes.
like, oh, I'm in the wrong spot. I need to be over there.
Yeah.
So you're so right. Like, it's so important to kind of just understand that, like, fear is going to come, but it's not failing if you actually learn something from that experience. And so I always say I'm great at failing, because, like, I run towards it. I'm like, how quickly can I fail at this? Because if I fail at it, it'll tell me exactly how to do it right the next time. Right. And
Yes.
so funny thing, I found an old Dropbox that had been syncing pictures since 2009, and uh, I've been diving down memory lane for the last, I don't know how many hours today, and I ran across a PowerPoint from 2015, and it had almost the exact same mission and vision that I have of my business currently, except for all the things were wrong. All of the parts of it were wrong, but the mission and vision were there. And so sometimes people will look at us, and they'll say, "Oh, well, you have it all together. You knew what you were doing." And I'm like, "No, MinkLife magazine. That This is like the fourth iteration of MinkLife magazine. This show is like a fourth iteration of this, of a similar kind of concept. The program and the coaching and all those other things that we do, they were like micro versions of what we ended up pulling together all together in the end. And it was just really cool to kind of see, like, where I came from when I thought I was doing what I thought I was going to do, and how sure I was that this is it. This is gonna be the one. This is this is the wall that I need to climb. And in the end, that wall was not the right wall, but it did give me great perspective of where the wall is that I need to be, so that I can, when I climb this wall, it was already, oh, I already know these first few rungs. I already got this under my belt. I've already done this. I can climb higher and faster because I already know these parts. It's when we start getting into the nosebleeds parts where I'm clueless and I don't know. And this may not be my final wall, right? I might have to like start all over and take this whole ladder and stick it somewhere else.
Mhm.
But if I keep climbing, I will always get higher than I was before, right? And so that's
True.
why it's so important for you to just kind of lean into it. You know, both Priya and Steve were saying it's just like get in there, know your vision, and just keep trying that vision, because you'll do it eventually. And I don't know what's next, or which this ladder is going to land on, but I'm
But not
excited.
fear to pivot. A lot of people are in fear of pivoting. They're like, oh, I figured this out. Or they sit too long with the plan because they're like, I'm not going to do anything until I have this down
The
right.
full plan, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You get started, and that's how you're going to figure it out. Just like when you start learning how to walk and crawl and all of that. If you wait until your muscles have grown and you have grown big to start walking,
It's too late.
it's not gonna work. The only way you build is through your falling and getting back up again.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just dive. Sometimes you just gotta dive in the deep end.
Yeah, I feel like we're off the rails here and I'm supposed to keep us on track, but I'm enjoying this conversation with you guys so much because I think sometimes, people don't get to hear, frankly, failures out loud, right? They don't get to hear someone say, yeah, I failed. I failed this time and that time and the other time and the other time. And every time my intentions were good. And every time I thought I had it and then I didn't,
Mhm.
but I got something from it. And I know Steve is, in that same boat for sure of like, got to try it.
Yeah,
Got to do
there's like the whole, ready, aim, fire. Sometimes you just gotta fire, ready, aim. Just
facts.
Yep.
try it. If it doesn't work, try it again. If that doesn't work, try it a different way. But the thing is, and this is something that I always keep here on my desk, is just like no matter what happens,
Never,
I love that.
never quit.
never
Yeah.
quit.
I always say you can quit tomorrow, but every day you have to say you can quit tomorrow.
Oh, I
Today,
quit. I
today
quit
we
all the
work.
time.
Tomorrow
I,
we quit.
I quit
Or
all the
I'll quit
time.
next week, or I'll quit next quarter. Like I just kick it down the can. I've been quitting for months now. Oh God,
Yeah,
months I've been quitting.
I quit all the time. The next day, I'm like, "What are you doing? You know you don't want to quit. Let's just go."
Okay, so can I tell you a secret between the three of us? I know others are watching, uh, but every time I think about like having to be in someone else's job and them telling me what to do, my soul leaves my body just a little bit, and I got to catch it and put it back in, and that's what makes me come back. That's what makes me come back to this. Okay, our producer is saying, "Move on. You're having too much fun." Okay, so we want you to stay inspired. And a lot of the times, we need that inspiration when we kind of feel like we don't understand what's happening. So, how does the lack of understanding your plan affect the way you move in your life and your business? And so, Steve,
I think again, going back to processes and systems, and I always give an analogy of think about you've been wanting to build a house in front of it could be a beach, a lake, a mountain, like your favorite scenery. You save up money, you buy this plot of land, and this is your dream plot of land in front of whatever that is for you, right? For me, it's actually this back here. Um, anyways, so now you decide, okay, now I want to build a house. So you call your local contractor and you say, Mr. Contractor, can you build me a house? And he's like, yeah, do you have a blueprint? Because otherwise I can build you something, but I don't know what that's going to look like. So you kind of first got to hire the engineer and the architect to bring your vision and put it on paper, and then I can use that what's on that paper and the blueprint as a guide. So that's the clarity that you need to bring that you need to bring in. And I always, because my field is technology, I look at it, well, people they'll spend thousands of dollars buying a specific platform. Like say a CRM is a perfect example. What CRM do I guess? Like, well, I don't know. Do you have a plan? Do you know exactly what you're going to use it for? What does it look like? What do you want it to do? Like, get clear on what that is first. Okay, again, that's the what, the why, and the how. It pertains to everything, right? What problem am I looking to solve with the CRM? Why am I solving it? And once I'm clear on what that is, and I actually kind of have a blueprint or a process that I'm gonna that I need to implement, then I can go find the right CRM that's going to do those things that I need specifically for me. So always have a plan, always have a process, and then the how comes out of that.
So true. So true. Does not matter. The how's none of your business. The how is none of your business. That's between the universe and the outcome of the work that you're doing. But the how itself is none of your business. It's like, what do I need to do? Show up to do it. You'll get it. You'll get it there. And that part is probably you guys are so right that
Yeah.
people get stuck on the how. How am I going to achieve that? But the curiosity is the part that needs like, I wonder what happens if,
Because
right?
the how can mean bringing someone into your team,
Yeah.
and you don't have to worry about that because especially people that are technically challenged, like why sit there and figure out how to use a specific piece of technology? Bring someone into your team that can take care of that for you, and will do it bigger, better, faster.
Yes, absolutely. Or at least go in and ask someone in the co-working space, do they know how to do it so they can help you get through there really quickly.
Yeah.
Priya, go ahead and add to, or how does the lack of understanding of your plan affect the way you move in your life and business?
Well, you got to be really clear on what kind of life you want because there are a lot of business owners who don't have a life. They are underpaid and overworked. They are their worst bosses. They don't treat themselves well, and then at that point, it's like you'll probably be treated better if you just had a job. So you got to be clear on what kind of life you want as an entrepreneur. Yes, when you're starting out, you're going to be working hard because you're building something. It's like having a child, and then you
Uh,
sleepless nights, for some time. But as they grow, then you start seeing it, like how it's evolving and what you're going to do next, and all the
mhm.
planning falls in place. And I love that Steve brought up the how part of it, because I read this amazing book called Who Not How. And you are not always going to know the how. You're not always going to have the answer. Like how you talked about, if you're trying to build a house, you're going to need someone who's going to show you, right? Like an engineer, a carpenter. You're going to need a loan officer who's going to give you the loan to build the house. So you're going to need a team. You're always going to need a team that's going to help you build. But if you don't know what you want to build, you're not going to know whom you're going to need. Like for me, I'm going to have like a clear picture of like, oh, I want a house on this lake or this place or whatever. In my house, this is how many bedrooms I want, how many living rooms, entertainment, kids room, all those things. But you got to have a clear picture of where you're headed. That's how you can explain someone like, okay, this is the end goal, and you help me get there. I don't know how to get there, so I'm
Yeah.
bringing you on to get there. So having a plan, and that's what the plan is, because it gives you a starting point, and then you figure out the path as you're moving forward. You know what your start
Yeah.
is, and you know what your end is. You know where you're going. How you get there may change as you're moving forward. There may
Yeah.
be challenges and obstacles, and you're like, okay, this plan didn't work, I got to change it. Now I got to modify this. And sometimes we don't look at the outside factors, what's going to affect it, right? You may
Yeah.
have a perfect plan, and then the pandemic happens. It's like, okay, well, that plan is out the window.
I just
and
opened
we
the yoga
forget
studio. Boom.
right? We forget to look at that. Like there's going to be a lot of things that are outside of our control. Don't let that stop you. If you have a start and an end, you can pivot. You can keep pivoting as much as
Yes.
you want and get there. You will eventually get there, but you got to be ready to face those challenges and those obstacles. And for that, you're going to need the right people, and you're going to have that clarity so you can tell that this is where I'm going and I need your help to get me there. And another thing that I've noticed especially in female entrepreneurs, we talk about life and business, they have such a hard time removing the guilt from the business. If
Hmm.
you're success. Like, oh, I'm not going to be a good wife. I'm not going to be a good mother. I'm not going to be a good daughter because I'm only focusing on my business. Oh my God, my I didn't put my child to bed today. They went to sleep because I was trying to finish this project or this proposal or whatever it may be. Remove the guilt out of it. You are creating something. You're building something. If you're gonna go for it, then go for it 100%. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be sacrifices. You'll just have to figure out which areas you are going to make those sacrifices and how much. And even that part requires plan. Like how you're going to plan on balancing your life and your business and all of that.
Yes.
Life's going to throw you curveballs and challenges and all of that.
Yeah, one of the reasons why in the Mink Life Principles coursework, we always start with life first, and then we go business, and then branding, and then networking, because you first have to understand what kind of lifestyle you actually want to live. Because if you build a business that doesn't agree with that lifestyle, you'll always be in conflict. You'll
Yeah.
forever be in conflict with your business. And there are so many people who are leaving corporate America to be entrepreneurs. And they're like, I don't want to schedule myself overly because I was so rigidly scheduled when I was in corporate America. And now I just want to have flow with my day, and I just want to have this, that, or the other. And it's like, yeah, but the problem is too much flow also leaves you kind of like floating and not
Yeah.
actually directed. But when you were talking, Priya, I was thinking of your analogy about the GPS earlier, and you're like, yeah, there'd be obstacles, and I'm like, yes. How many times did we get in the car to go somewhere? We put it in the GPS, and the direct route had so much traffic that it was just better to
Yeah.
take the side road or the street or the other way. We don't complain about the fact that we have to take the streets to get to locations. Why do we have a hard time pivoting in our businesses? Right? It's the same thing. It's like a traffic jam, or um, they decided to close that road because they're going to pave it, and you can't go that way anymore. You have to go a different way. And so I guess if we kind of really take that concept of like, we are just on a journey and there are multiple roads that will get us to that place, then it's okay if I have to pivot. Okay, well, I wanted to hire a VA, but the money dried out. So now I have to figure out another way to do it. I need to maybe automate or figure out, reschedule my time so that I can actually make sure I get posting on a regular basis. Or, I don't know how to do copy like I thought I do. Or I thought I was really good at copy, but I kind of suck at it. So maybe I need to hire somebody to proofread my copy. I maybe can't afford to pay someone to do it, which in the perfect world, I'd pay them to do it. But maybe I write it and then they proofread it, and that's a little less, right? There's all kinds of ways to get there. And it's sometimes not the straightforward way. And sometimes it's not the like, I'll pay my way through it. Sometimes it's a hybrid. Sometimes it's a DIY. Sometimes it's a DWY, like a do it with you. And then sometimes it's a do it for you, right? And you just have to kind of be able to be flexible. And sometimes it's all three of those things. There's a part of it you got to do it yourself. It's a part of it you got to work with someone to get it to that point. And then the other part is like, you know what? Nope, nope. You just nope. Nope. Go ahead, just take it, right? And people like Steve really come in handy with those kinds of things, especially with the CRMs, right? I mean, that's essentially the crux of what you guys were saying. Really.
That's part of the journey. I think it's part of the
Yeah,
journey because you don't know what you don't know. I think it was Jim Rohn that said this is like a lot of people leave their secure 40-hour a week paycheck for an 80-hour a week, no insecure, no money, and then that's what ends up happening when people end up quitting is because they're working their tails off, and they don't have a direction, they don't have a plan. They really don't know what they don't know about building team and bringing people. They feel they have to do it all themselves, right? And that's where really a good mentor comes in, right?
yeah,
Having someone to coach you through that, to when you're feeling down, you feel like you're lost, and then all of a sudden your coach says something. It's like, oh, I didn't think of
yeah,
that, right? And kind of puts you back in the path. So and it could be just a friend, it could be a mentor. Is maybe your neighbor who's 80 years old and has nothing better to do, but he had this wonderful business, and now he or she is bored. So
yeah.
it doesn't have to be somebody you pay. Just find a mentor. It's definitely gonna shorten the path to success for sure.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our next section. We kind of been talking about it this whole time, so I wasn't pressed to push us to this question, but like, who should you ask for help? And Steve kind of walked us right into when you're trying to improve in your leadership skills and nurturing your plan. But Priya, did you want to kind of chime in on what Steve was saying?
Letting go of control, especially solopreneurs. We want to be the master of all skills and we want to
Yes.
master all those skills, especially the ones that we hate. No, like that drains your energy because you keep, it's like that frog sitting at your desk and you're like, oh, I keep looking at it, but I don't want to handle it, right? It's like, ah,
Yep.
it's there, it's not going away.
We call
Outsource
those we call those fat green squirrels. They're the things that you need to do
it.
Mhm.
Yep.
that are full of money, but you have no idea in shaking it. Like, you have no idea in chasing that squirrel. It's the glittery red squirrels that have nothing to do with money. Those are the ones that you want to chase all day, every day.
Yep,
So,
yep. And
Yeah.
solopreneurs have a hard time letting go of control. Because they want to know everything. They want to only trust themselves. But if you bring in an expert and like Steve said, bring in a mentor who has experience, who can
yeah,
show you. There are people who have so many experiences and expertise who can really give you that clarity and get you out
yeah,
of your own mental fog.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's also a lot of old school. Sorry,
No,
sorry.
go ahead, Steve.
There's also a lot of old school thinking. Like there's this book by Brian Tracy called Eat the Frog. And it's about like, okay, so eat the thing that you don't want to do that you're like, I don't want to do that first. Right. And I think that's old school. I think I think that's just a way to drain your energy and just just completely kills your motivation. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I
You no
think
longer have to eat the frog.
no,
Because you
no.
can give it to someone else who loves it, who loves
Yes,
the frog.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
In our community, we do genius pods in some ways, right? And everyone in our community are from different zones of genius, like how you guys are. And so we always encourage our members to come in and like just ask the stupid question, right? Like you have a
Mhm.
question, it sounds really stupid to you. You're like, oh my God, they're gonna think I'm the dumbest person for asking this question, but it's not something that I know. It's not my zone of genius. I've been avoiding this thing for so long because I am so like about this thing. And then they'll come into the community, they'll ask the question, and in 10 minutes they have their answer and they've moved on to the next thing. They're like, why didn't I ask this question a long time ago? Or even like, having a zone of just exchange. Like I'm really good at moving people out of those spots. But there are I have been known to be a creative speller and also grammatically creative as well. And that's not my zone of genius. So, having someone, let's do a swapsies real quick. I'll help you figure out what it is you need to do with this one thing. If you can kind of proofread this for me, and then we're energy exchanging and having a swap of our zones of genius, and then we can move past it. It doesn't always require
that
money.
that that's
Yeah.
really important, especially if you're bootstrapping. Like if you
Yes.
have, I mean, if you think about before the actual concept of money, it was bartering.
Yes.
You grow rice, I grow beans, you grow meat.
We got a meal.
Individually, exactly. Individually, you get to eat rice, I get to eat beans, and you get to meat. We get together, we collaborate. Now we have a meal.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
entire
and the
concept
experts,
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead,
the
Priya.
experts love sharing what they do. They love
Absolutely.
talking about what they do. One of the things that I always run into is like, oh, I don't understand money. I was really bad at math, so I don't want to look at it. I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, well, I love it. Let's talk about it. Let me break it down in like bite-sized pieces for you. You
Yeah.
don't love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So I can tell you everything you want to know about it. People are so scared to ask questions, but they don't realize like the person who's an expert in that area, they love it. They will give
Mhm.
you any information you need about
Yes.
it.
You know,
Yes.
I built a business around that because a lot of the times, a client asks me, well, how do we do this? Can we do this? And I'm like, I don't know. But then part of me is like, okay, it's like, ooh, I get to figure it out, right?
Yes.
I feel the same way. I absolutely feel the same way. It's like people are like, I don't know how. It's like, it's okay. Come on, let's figure it out. That's the fun part. The
It's
figuring
a
Yeah,
out how
good
to do this
challenge.
is the
yeah,
fun
Yeah, I'm
part.
like, You're
Something
giving
I
me something else to be curious about and
Yeah.
something more to learn. I'm always like, oh, what else can I learn? And when someone gives you a good challenge, you're like, oh, I like it.
You see?
yeah, something that helped me realize what that zone of genius was there's a book called book, and there's actually a website, Strengths Finder.
Strength finders. Mm-hmm.
You can take the free test. It gives you your top three. So for me, it was learning and problem solving. I forget what the third one was, but really the first two is the one that speak to me, because anything I've ever done in life, if I'm learning and I'm solving problems, I'm super engaged. I love it. The moment I stop learning and I figured out what to do, then
Yeah.
I then
No
and
longer interested.
that makes me unemployable. Going back to what you said earlier, Monica, because
Goals
it
live
was
in
a
the
pattern.
body. Wait,
It was
gotta
a
catch it.
pattern. I start a job. I'm learning. I figured it out. I got to the point where it's just like I'm not learning. I'm not problem solving anymore, because now it's just like easy. Then I find a way to get myself fired.
Uh-huh. Either find a way to get myself fired, or I find a new business stream in the business that they don't have that they need to have because I'm bored. So that's literally how I ended up with a clothing company, a custom clothing company, because I was consulting a business. I understood the algorithms. I fixed all of the problems. There was no other problems to fix except for this one thing that customers kept saying. And that was, oh, I love this, but it's too long. Or I wish it had a sleeve. Or I wish it had a this. And then next thing you know, I built a whole business inside of the other business because I was bored of the sales side of it and building that part of the business. I needed to find something else to put my energy in. And so, yeah, ended up with an entire custom clothing company that way. Anyway, we're approaching overtime. First of all, I just want to say I've had so much fun talking to the both of you. We have to do this again as soon as possible because I just love the two of you. The energy right here, yes, here for it. Okay, so it's time to gain knowledge. It's your final thought. This is the lightning round, so just a really quick drop the mic kind of tip. What is your final thought for maximizing your business? Am I still here? Did you hear
Yes,
me?
we can hear you, but you're
You can hear
frozen.
me, but you're
Oh, there we
she's
go.
like, uh
Oh,
oh, we lost. Okay. So what's your
I
final thought on maximizing your business?
reverse engineer your profit. I am all about making money, so you got to know what your end goal is. You got to keep the lights on. You're going to need money to hire those experts that you're going to need to show you how to get to the end of it, right? So
Yeah.
you got to reverse engineer your profit. You got to know how much it's going to cost. You got to know how much you're going to bring in. You got to know how you're going to charge, and you got to offer options. People love options. I worked as a business investigator for 12 years, and that was my
Ooh.
biggest thing. I didn't matter how bad the situation was. It doesn't even matter if they have the two worst options, but they have an option. So when you focus on growing your business, don't leave the money part out of it. Sometimes people will just say, oh, I just want to help everyone. Well, if you're not making money, you can't really help anyone. So reverse engineer it. Where do you see this to be when you reach that goal? When you get on your GPS and you reach there, where do you see that? And then now reverse engineer it. What do you need to do today? How much do you need to make today,
Mhm.
and how you're going to grow it? And what other, like how Monica was saying, like she created a business inside of a business. So she had one stream of income and she added another one. A lot of the times we have those options, but people don't really see it, where you can create multiple streams of income within your business. So do have clarity on your finances. And one tip that I will give to everyone is, a lot of businesses, they will see that, oh, I'm going to get a loan or I'm going to ask for funding when I really need it. No, ask for it when your business is doing great, because you are able to see it. If you have a plan in place and you see where you're headed and you have that financial clarity of, oh, this is how much I'm going to need for the team that's going to help me in this area. When you have a strong cash flow now, you want to ask for that funding now, because you're able to show the growth, the positive side of it, the strength of your business. Not when you get up there and then you're trying to go for it and your finances are not looking so great. Don't wait for that time. So that will be like my one advice for anyone who's still working on their business plan.
Okay. Yeah, my piece of advice is, think about as human beings in general. We have, in order for us to function, just to function, we actually do have processes in place in our personal life. We call them routines, right? You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, or maybe you take a shower and brush your teeth, or maybe you brush your teeth while you're in the shower, right? But my point is, you have these routines in place, and when you're climbing the ladder of success, there's certain things that you must add to your routine, right? To ensure that you have success. To keep track of your money, keep track of your income and your output, right? Keep track of what you put into your mindset, your belief systems, right? What's holding you back as far as what you believe about yourself, exercise, things like that. Successful people have certain intentional things that they add into the routine. Okay, in business, it shouldn't be any different, right? You create processes so that you know exactly what needs to happen at every step of the way. It could be in your marketing process, it could be in your sales process, your onboarding, right? The idea is to be really clear on what happens at every step on the way, especially when you start bringing team members into the picture. Imagine a company like IBM, if they didn't have what they call standard operating procedures for every department, every part of the business. They have like thousands of employees. Imagine 1,000 people doing their own thing.
Yeah.
That's massive chaos, right?
Mm.
So you got to have those standard operating procedures. You got to have those procedure manuals in place of what happens at every step of the way. And then of course is going back to, okay, how do I streamline this? So it's a never ending process to continue to streamline your processes and your workflows, right? And part of that is, okay, how can I bring in the right technology? How can I leverage technology to help me do these things? And when I talk about business automation, I'm not talking about putting things on autopilot, right? Like you could literally put your marketing in autopilot, right? Somebody subscribes to email list and you just basically created this campaign and you send them emails, you send them a newsletter, and that's just kind of set it and forget it. In the sales process, this requires contact. You're always back and forth. You got to follow up, things like that. Leveraging technology will allow you to, first of all, save mental energy. Like, it can remind you of doing things, especially following up, right? Depending on what your business is and how the sales cycles are, it could be a couple of calls, it could be a 6-month process, right? Do you have things in place to remind you to do things for you? And what technology allows you to do is to save 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, right? So at the end of the week, you've actually gotten some time back. So I would say be clear on your processes, create systems around those, and then find the right technology that you can leverage to facilitate make that easier. Um, that
I
would be
love that.
my thing.
And I will say, my final tip is embrace all feedback, all of it. All of it is good. I know. It sucks to hear that you suck. However, the reason why we have pain receptors is so that we know where to stop, right? So if we didn't have pain receptors, when we touch a hot stove, we would not know that we are burning. And it's the same thing in your business. When you get feedback from those numbers, when you get feedback from the lack of reception, if you get feedback from someone saying no, that lets you know where to stop. It gives you your parameters. And when someone says, I love that, and it feels good, and you get the endorphins and the whole thing, it tells you, no, that's go, 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 go. So embrace all of the feedback because you need both in order for you to be really balanced and organized in your business so that you can nurture it. What people like, they will gravitate to. What they do not like, they will not. And it's not a complete no sometimes. Sometimes it's like, oh, that's hot. I got to proceed with caution. Or sometimes it's a like, no, that is horrible. No one likes that. Don't do that anymore. But all of the feedback is necessary. So don't be scared of rejection. Don't get fearful. Don't get all in your feelings. It's not personal. Just know that all of that feedback is super necessary for you to know exactly the cheat codes to get to where you're trying to go. So embrace feedback.
And
Yay, we
sometimes it gives you additional ideas too,
Love,
like people's feedback.
love
So you're like, oh, I could do that.
oh
I
yeah.
could add that. That's another income stream.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I love
When
that.
people rant about what
something.
they hate, that's telling you exactly what they need.
Yep.
So
Something I always remind myself is nothing happens to you; it happens for you.
for
Yes.
you. Yes,
Yes.
the universe is conspiring for your good. So you might
Yes.
as well just go ahead and walk in the path anyway. It's okay. It's all good. You're
Exactly.
not going to die. I promise you, you won't die. I mean, you'll die eventually because we all have to die, but like, you know what I'm saying? You get it. Anyway, it is time for announcements, announcements, announcements. And this is the time for us to give our guests the opportunity to say how you can connect with them. So, since we started in the introductions with Steve, I'm going to give Priya the opportunity to go first on the announcements.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, anyone who would like to book a free strategy call with me, you can go on my website. It's www.pivotmyprofit.com. You can book a free 30-minute session with me. I bring your problem. I will give you tips and ideas. And I also have a profit calculator on my website. You can go plug in your numbers, play around with it. It'll give you a plan. And if that creates any curiosity, you can book the call after. I also have a gratitude journal that's on Amazon because it is very important that you balance your life as a whole. So I published a gratitude journal and it's on Amazon and you can search for it there. Gratitude Journal by Priya Kumar.
Love it. All right, Steve.
Awesome.
How can people get connected?
So, so I have an ebook that will help you actually map out your sales process. It's the sales process playbook, and you can go to my website, automatemysalesprocess.com/playbook, and that way you can begin to plan your sales process. And there's also a contact form in my website if you feel that you need some help, you want to talk about your sales process. You could also just go to the contact form and fill your information, and then we'll set up a time to talk.
Okay, so I hate to be self-serving for us, but I kind of feel like we're the dream team here. Like, like you come to me and we kind of like suss it out of what you need. And then we go, hey, Steve, help us out with the processes. And then we're like, Priya, make it all work. I feel like dream team right here. If you didn't get those vibes, I don't know what's wrong with you because I totally got those vibes today. But anyway, the announcements for the community. I'm going to keep it really simple for you today. If you want to meet with, oh, you're right, Peggy. I got you. Go ahead and slide that back out there. If you want to have a conversation with me, you think I'm kind of crazy, you're kind of crazy. If you have any questions, comments, or rude remarks, I take them all because I said all feedback is good. You're just gonna book a call with me on monicamhenderson.com. The M is for Mink. monicamhenderson.com. And you can book a call with me. You can look at all of my websites. You can kind of stalk me a little bit. It's all there. But if you're curious about playing in the community, guess what? There's so much included in our membership for the lowest price you could possibly imagine. Not only do you get daily co-working 6 days a week where you can vibe with other people in the community while you're doing your work, so you don't have to do it by yourself, but you also get 4 action planning courses with 4 action planning workbooks. And when I say like they're like thick workbooks, you get discounted MinkLife University events and lectures. You get a featured article in our M magazine. You also have access to private online community, our little app on Workplace. Whoop, whoop. You get an opportunity to have priority posting in our Facebook group. And you get to speak on our global conferences, our live show, this podcast. Like it's all a part of your stuff, right? And not only that, but we have been adding partnerships and discounts with other partnering communities so that you can get networking and all the other needs that we don't provide all included in your membership, and it's only $79 a month. Now, I know that seems like it's too good to be true, but I challenge you to come and figure it out. All right, go to the website minklifeuniversity.com, and that's where you'll be able to figure that out. And if you are interested in being on the show, guess what? We are looking for people to be on the show. If you think you got the goods to be up here and give the advice and tell people, hey, this is what's happening, we want to hear from you. Go to minklifemotivation.com/live where you can book on the show. We only have like six episodes left this year, and then we'll be rolling out January. So go there, get booked on, come join us on the couch, on the screen, all together. We love you all for being here with us. Thank you so much to my co-host today. You guys were amazing. This was so much fun. I'm a little sad that we're over by like 5 minutes, but it's fine because it was a good time. And other people, if we're having a good time, everybody else is having a good time too, I think. So Good job. We will all see you not next week because it's Thanksgiving, but the following week after that. Peggy will be on the show where she will help you build your brand and keep this ball rolling. With all that, I'm going to say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Happy
Next
Thanksgiving, everyone, next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye. Oh, or not. We're still here hanging out. It's okay.
There's no light.
I think she might have left. Yeah, I think we lost her.